Hello. So,
Hello. Are we going? Are we recording?
yeah, we are. So, indeed. So, this is the Drupal Core Cross Initiatives meeting for January 31st, 2019. And I just fixed the year numbers in the note stock because our last meeting was 2018 last week, which was 2019, and the week before also. And the week before also. I guess the guy need to get used to 2019. Okay. I think that's fixed. So Elliot said that he probably needs to go soon. So I think let's start with out of the box.
Hey everyone. Had some really good progress over the global contribution weekend. We split up the translation exercises, and McLarman set up as a contrib Kanban board to see how the progress of the translation is going on, which I put in the chat. You can see there, but we've got two pieces of content already set to RTPC, which is brilliant, and we have 5 ready for review and another 3 in progress. So more than, half the content approximately is already in some progress of translation. In parallel with that, we started to split out the configuration that we need and to adapt the import process, the content import process, so we could easily import multiple languages, and splitting the structure of that to stuff that would be different between languages and discuss that. So yeah, really happy with that progress we have going on so far. And that's all I have to say about that.
Do you have enough people to work on the import process as well, or you need more people on that? How's it going?
I was working with Rakesh James with that Rakesh James over contribution weekend. I need to pick up with that just to see if he's still interested in carrying on working with that with me, or whether he was just contributing during that weekend. So not issuing a shout for help at the moment.
Okay. I think last week we discussed on this call, and then we discussed this week on the Umami call about media stability and layout stability. Maybe a good time, one more time to ask Angie as well about that. If
sure.
you know
What? I was up at very early o'clock today, so I'm kind of
yeah, I know. So so Umami is looking at possibly adopting media and/or layouts. Additionally,
yes.
And they are interested in their abilities to do so. And whether
my prediction is that neither of those will get to stable by 8.7, but we could always be wrong about that. Layouts has a pile of work going on, and as many smart people as we can manage to work on it, but it just seems like things keep being harder than we think they're going to be, and that kind of stuff. And we're down to like 6 weeks or something to finish everything up. So that's probably not going to be a thing. And then media is kind of the same thing, where we've got Sean, Acquia, we have Sean B contracted to work on some stuff over there, but it's a big, hairy, thorny problem. Basically, after the sprint in December, the good news is we got designs that work, but the bad news is we have to implement them, and it's taking a lot longer than we thought and such. So both of those modules are experimental, which we covered in an earlier call today, that actually gives them a little bit more time. They basically have until RC to get whatever they're going to get done, as long as it's contained to the experimental feature. So that's good, but it's still quite a lot of effort. And my prediction is that maybe 50% or less that they would make stable. That doesn't, however, preclude Umami from making patches to allow them to work, because then we could find issues early. I remember last DrupalCon or the DrupalCon before that, whichever it was, we actually made a demo showing Umami with all of this stuff and immediately found all kinds of things that didn't work. And that was great because we were able to fix a bunch of bugs in 8.6 that allowed those things to function together. So
I think that was actually Dev Days Lisbon.
maybe it was Dev Days Lisbon. Yeah, sorry, I get my events confused, but yeah. But it's fantastic when we try that integration stuff early and often, basically. So so I would encourage you to work on it. It's just we probably can't commit it to core until 8.8 is my prediction at the current rate things are going.
Yeah, that's kind of the approach we're taking. We're trying to get those things, trying to get them ready for when they do drop or get as close as we can.
Yep, and that's awesome. And then as soon as 8.8 opens for features, which is an alpha, I mean, I guess we'd have to see about that. But one potential thing we could do is commit that before 8.8 ships. I don't know if we would do that or not, actually, but that's a possibility. Is if we committed it early in the 8.8 cycle, we could always roll it back in the event that those features aren't stable for 8.8. But in the meantime, that would give people some runway for testing. So just a thought there too. But yeah, but at any rate, huge +1 to patches that let them work. The actual core commits, though, might have to wait. So
yeah, if the modules are ready by RC, then it gives a very little window for Umami to adopt them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hi, Jennifer.
I think that answers. I guess that helps provide more color. I think I was saying that they are in a similar state, but I was probably not as grim. But as time goes on, there's more and more challenges to race against time. So
I mean, they'll both be dramatically improved in 8.7. I just wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, yeah, they'll definitely be ready for production in 8.7. But we still got time, so we'll see what happens.
Umami wants to adopt them as stable, so they don't want to have experimental modules.
Exactly. Yep. And same with most Drupal sites too. So.
Yep. All right. Anything else, Elliot?
Nope.
No. Okay. Proceed with your deployments. Who arrived next? Looking at the list. Was it Christina? I think it was.
Okay. So from next week, from last week, what we've Claro has been moving forward. There has been a final decision on some focus styles moved into the issue queue from the design team, and then we're just waiting to final sign-off from someone from the accessibility experience, and from there we're going to implement that on the other designs. And there's also we are also having some movement into the Claro itself. And apart from that, the big movements have been the creation of the new a new issue. Let me find the link for having the autosave functionality. Here's the link. We were discussing with Andre and some other people about, and Ethan about this, and it looks like it's interesting for several initiatives. Like API also has something to say there, so the issue is created and people is just posting comments there. And another issue that going to update today or tomorrow. I have all the plan created. I just need to check that with other people from the initiative, like Suzanne. And once I get some feedback from other people on the initiative. I'm going to update the issue about creating an editor role. By default on the standard, it goes another. Sorry, I just pasted the old. Yeah, I just pasted the one, the link to the editor role, and here you have the one for the autosaving. So I'm gonna update this other issue about the editor role, and I really would like to see if there's any other initiative interested on this, so we can join forces, or otherwise just move forward. So I don't know if you know about anyone that might be interested on having an editor role on Drupal core.
Are you still here, kind of? Because
Sorry?
I was going to ask if Elliot was still here, because that seems like that might dovetail with the out-of-the-box initiative a little bit, where it's talking about Drupal's default authoring experience and making that nicer.
Hey, sorry, I'm just leaping back in. I think off the top of my head, we already have an editor role in Umami when you install it. But I'm not sure.
Okay, we can discuss that further. At least when we update the issue, it might be discussed on some of your meetings, and then or someone can just post something there. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll make sure I follow that issue. Is that the one you pasted, or was that the autosave one? That's autosave.
Well, okay, the first one that I pasted, I think it was the one for the editor role. So yeah, I'm gonna this issue still needs some summary update with some plan or something. So I'm gonna ping you once I have it updated, so you can pass the info if you
Cool.
think
I'm
so.
following this. I'll add this to the agenda for our next out of the box call as well.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was all for the admin UI so far.
So you said earlier that you wanted to discuss the autosave, but then you also said that it's being discussed with the workflow team now. Do you need more input there?
No, I was expecting to. I was planning to ask if anyone was interested on giving some feedback, and I realized that there's a lot of comments on the issue already. So I'm not really sure if we need to ping someone else, but I think almost everybody that is interested has the info now.
I found it probably, there's a lot of opinions on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that Andre was next.
Hey, so lots of progress for the workflow initiative. We just had a meeting earlier today and settled on the blockers for marking the workspaces module as stable. And we're making very good progress towards that. The update API issue is very close to being committed. That means taxonomy terms and menu links are very close to be revisionable in 8.7. Nothing new on the front of path aliases. Still waiting a review from a subsystem maintainer. That would be Sasha. But that's not, I guess it's not really on the plate for 8.7 anymore. So not that important. As for the other issues, which are blocking stable workspace release, they're all in good shape. The revision 3 started to receive a lot of attention in terms of reviews. And the conflict API stuff, that's just mostly the single thing needed still for 8.7. And yeah, I think that's about it for the workflow initiative. The autosave issue is really interesting, and it sparked quite a lively conversation. In contrast to the previous proposals, and this is a thought that I haven't posted yet on the issue, I think the main advantage right now compared to 6 years ago, for example, is that we should be trying to store entity objects instead of the form state. So previous approaches were trying to bring any form to a predefined state, as in in progress state. But it turned out it's very hard, especially with Ajax elements and all that. But right now, I think the focus is more on providing this autosave functionality for entity forms. And as long as we have an entity object somewhere, either in the browser storage or persistent storage, whatever, we can provide a form for it, which includes the proper values for our Ajax elements, for example. So, I mean, this is not really a priority for 8.7, but in general, I think we have better chances of doing it now than we had 6 years ago. I'll have to post this in the issue as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Get the thinking going, yeah.
Yeah, and it could be a good candidate for 8.8.
Okay, good. We'll make a note of that for sure. Okay. Anything else or any questions for Andre from others?
Just curious, if you're going to save the entity state, is that going to run into a problem with the validation system? If you have form fields like, say, a required field that isn't filled out or some other form state where it's not a valid, it's not going to pass the entity validation checks?
Yeah, that's exactly what's being discussed right now in the issue. And there are some solutions. I proposed one, but there is also another possibility, again, which I thought of in the meantime, is that we maybe shouldn't try to store in progress revisions in the actual entity storage, but just store entity objects in the user's private temp store. So we would just store a serialized entity object, basically, there. And in that case, we bypass the validation issues completely, because we are not trying to store incomplete data in the database. We just keep a record of an entity object that's in progress, and that doesn't have to be validated at all. It's
enough data to run entity create, but not enough to run entity save necessarily. Gotcha.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing to overcome for now, the validation part. And this idea might just be enough to not store it in the actual storage of the entity type. Again, after I finish some work that I have to finish today, I'll try to post all this in the issue as well.
Thank you. I don't know if Michael or Jennifer was next. Jennifer, you want to go next?
I think it's probably Michael. but whatever.
You already?
I'm ready. I have just a quick question. So we've been trying to get this help system into core. I posted a link on the Slack channel. I can post it in here too if you want. I'm just trying to figure out what we need to do to actually get it committed. And we had a release manager review, and they brought up some issues, but then they didn't say, okay, we're done, and they're not responding, and I'm just not sure what to do. I don't know. I just don't know what else we need to do to get the initial commit so that we can move forward and work on some of the other issues on it. Or who I should ping.
So I think Alex Platt was very active recently on the issue, but he's probably ineligible to.
Yeah, I can. We had somebody, Gibran, I guess, volunteered to review it again, and I can ping again on that. I guess my question is about the release manager review. We had just added a couple of comments about that, and Catch did too. And I think we addressed all of that feedback, but they haven't responded to say if they have anything else, or who is the release managers right now? Is that just Jess?
It's Catch and Jess, yeah.
Okay.
So it can definitely be RTBC without them providing that review.
Okay.
That's not the requirement for it to be RTBC, that there's a lack of review because there are core committers. So if another core committer believes that there was not enough proof of review, then they will ask them and they will hopefully get them to review it. So it should be RTBC, even if that's the thing missing, that should be RTBC.
Okay. All right. I'll just see if I can get somebody to review it then.
Yeah, good stuff. And congrats on working through all of that. It's been
well, the last several months it's been mostly other people and not me, but I've been just trying to nudge it forward a bit, and yeah. It doesn't bear very much resemblance to my original idea, but we just need to get it done.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's all I had.
I'm glad that it got picked up. Okay. And then Mike.
Okay. Nothing a ton new. We're still at about 11 blockers for migrate multilingual to be stable. We're really going to be trying hard to get that done before 8.7. The only other thing we're really working on migrate is trying to get all the migration plugins to implement a configurable interface. There's the contrib feeds module wants to build a UI on top of core migrate, and they really need to be able to have all of the plugins be using a configurable interface so they can detect default configurations and set them on the plugins. So we'd like to get that in for them, and just because it's good UI, it's gonna clean up a lot of the code and get rid of a lot of our is null checks on our process plugins. So those are the two big ones for 8.7, and then the big one again for 8.8 is deprecating the Drupal 6 sources and getting those moved into a contrib module before 9.0. So that's where we're at still.
Is there specific things that we can help with?
Again, just the getting the multilingual stuff committed as we get it pushed through. Again, I don't think I have anything RTBC right now.
Yeah.
But again, just getting those committed quickly, because usually the next issue kind of requires a fixture re-roll in between commits. So we kind of get stuck when they get sitting there, but they have been being committed quickly, so we haven't had an issue there, thankfully. And then the other one, the configurable stuff, there's some core issues on that, but I'm working with the framework managers to get those pushed through. And so It's working, definitely.
Okay. Well, let us know if there's specific things that we can help with. So. Okay. And then I can report on Drupal 9, I guess. So we've been making quite steady progress on Symfony 4 compatibility and even somewhat Symfony 5 compatibility. So we have an issue where we are running Symfony 4 test update, and Mike is also actively participating on that one. It's a lot of fun. So this issue, and it keeps failing in various things, and then we open issues for what it keeps failing on, and then we try to fix them in a way that's compatible with Symfony 3 and 4, and in the case of it being a fail for 5, also 5. So we'll see if it's still a pipe dream to support 3 and 4 and 5 at once, but so far we are not that bad. So I think in the last 6 days we got it down from 200 fails to 14 fails by committing like an issue a day or something, fixing various things. And we found some challenging stuff and some mundane, simple stuff. So it's a mix of the two. We have still a bunch of things going that need to be fixed for it to be better. So that's a key area. And then we have a lot of discussions around deprecations in general and the tooling around deprecations. So I know that Jennifer posted a detailed write-up of what it would take to make the API.Drupal.org UI support better deprecation filtering. And we have a very active issue on formatting deprecation messages in a way that could be parsed for that information. And there's a lot of back and forth there in terms of what to include there and not. So I will include this issue here. It's in the coding standards queue.
We do have, by the way, we do have full text searching on api.drupal.org now. I don't know if that helps.
So yeah, we need a way to filter deprecations to certain versions. I guess if the text contains the right parts in the right way, maybe. But
yeah, I guess first we have to get all the messages standardized and then and worry about filtering them some way. But anyway, we do have that capability on api.drupal.org is to search the full text of documentation. Although I'm not sure once you do that if you can filter to versions. But yeah, if you go to api.drupal.org and use the search button that's way up in the header, it's full text search. It's it's Solr based searching.
Yeah, the trick is we have a bunch of placeholders within the sentence, and we are trying to match for different parts of the sentence all at once.
Right.
Maybe that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Like here, I'll post a URL here for you can search for "will be removed in."
Yeah.
So anyway, there's only 51. Oh, and then you can filter by core compatibility. That's good. And project. Yeah, maybe all we would need to do is also we can file an issue in the API Drupal.org project about filtering that full text search by specific version rather than just core compatibility.
Yeah, I understand that as a possible workaround for now. I don't think it's the ultimate solution though, but yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I hope we can find someone to write that API Drupal.org patch, because that would be quite important to do.
You mean to just add a filter for the branch?
So
the Solr searching?
No. So we are interested in the
parsing.
Yeah, when something got deprecated and when it will actually be removed.
Okay. Well, once we get the coding standards issue done, I can work on that. I don't think it will be that difficult. once we figure out the standard and get the messages updated.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
it'd be amazing. Yeah, because
I'm definitely watching the coding standards issue. So
yeah, I plan to write at least one blog post, and I think Mike is planning a blog post series as well around deprecations. But what's important to communicate is we don't want people to immediately apply the deprecations, because that forces people to keep Drupal core 2 up to date, I guess, maybe going too fast, because we support Drupal core for a year. And we also don't want people to apply deprecations that are too far out for Drupal 10, let's say. We don't have any of those yet, but we will have some coming in. So we need to have the range limited both from where it was deprecated and where it's removed, and have a definite list of like, these are the ones you should focus on. And API Drupal.org is one of the avenues for that. And we also, Angie and I started wireframing in the issue to have some UI within your site to provide that information about your site. And we got less and less sure about how it's going to work and whether it's going to be useful. So it's fun as we've been wireframing it. The mechanism or something. This one at the log. So there's a bunch of technical problems there and how we collect the data and whether we can trust the data, etc. So also quite interesting. I'll post that link here as well. It's that's an interesting discussion as well. And then there's the thread of doing that on TestBot as well to provide that feedback too. So you don't need to have these like funky test issues that we have for Twig 2 and for Symfony 4. Yeah. So we'll keep doing those things, I guess. And we'll hopefully get very close with Symfony 4 compatibility. And I hope that we can release optional Symfony 4 compatibility with 8.7, because we're going quite well with it, but we don't know what else we will uncover. And obviously the core test passing with it doesn't mean that everything works, but it means that everything that has tests and everything that core uses that has tests works. So Contrib will unearth a lot more problems, probably. All right, so I think that's Drupal 9. That's all from there. Any questions for others, from others? Things that we didn't cover, you are here to answer. Or anything else Angie and I can help with? Escalate the core commuters.
One thing I plan to do over the next week or so is touch base with all the teams to go back and revisit the core roadmap page, which is here, core/roadmap, Drupal.org, and revisit what those goals we thought we could get done in 8.7 back in like November or whenever we had these conversations the last time, and try and make sure that these are accurate, just so people planning for 8.7 can get some relatively complete idea of what to expect. And another part of those conversations is going to be that 8.8 we're really hoping is going to be the last release of Drupal 8, because that would give people longer to move to Drupal 9, which is good.
Well, 8.8 will be the last. I mean, 8.9 is going to be the one released alongside Drupal 9.
Right. Sorry. Well, the last release we're putting features in, I guess, or we're right, because 8.9 is just 9 without the BC or with the BC layers. Yeah. Or
yeah.
So basically, whoever has stuff in flight for Drupal 8, the goal is to finish it by 8.8's feature freeze, which is October of 2019. So we've got about 9 months left to do cool shit in Drupal 8, which is a little scary. So having those conversations with the different teams and trying to update this roadmap, and trying to figure out if there's stuff we're explicitly going to just push to Drupal 9 because it would be good also to start developing the product roadmap for Drupal 9 and things to expect for that too. So, yeah, so that just a heads up that that's going to be happening over the next couple weeks.
Right. I realized I didn't say one thing. There's only 4 simple tests remaining in core now. 4.
Whoa.
So we're getting really close to not using simple tests anymore. Yeah, that's another result from the deprecations discussions that we had today.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I think we're all done. There's no other topics. So thanks everyone for coming, and see you online.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.